Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Your comfort zone is a dangerous place. You see, it's that safe, familiar space where everything feels predictable, everything feels easy. But here's the truth. Nothing ever grows in the comfort zone. Nothing. You will never become the person you're meant to be if you keep sitting in that chair, watching the world pass by. The best version of you is waiting on the other side of fear, on the other side of uncertainty, on the other side of discomfort. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I'm comfortable here. And I get it. The fear of failure, the fear of the unknown, it paralyzes you. But let me tell you something, my friend. Fear is not the enemy. It's the sign that you're about to step into greatness. Fear means you're about to stretch, grow, and evolve into something more powerful than you've ever imagined. It's the price you pay for the life that's meant for you. You see, greatness isn't a spectator sport. It's not something you watch from the sidelines while others go for it. No, you've got to get out there, take a step forward, even when you don't feel ready. And let me tell you this, there will never be a perfect time. The stars will never align. So stop waiting for things to be just right and start taking action. Take that first step, even if it feels like you're stumbling, because that's the only way you're going to get to the next level of your life. Don't allow fear to make your decisions for you. It's not going to be easy, no. But the moment you leave your comfort zone is the moment you start living the life you were destined for. You have everything you need to succeed, but it starts with the decision to move, to act, to go after what you want with everything you've got. It's time to stop letting your doubts hold you back and step into your power. Listen, the world needs you. There are people out there waiting for what you've got, waiting for the story that only you can tell, waiting for the gift that only you can give. You owe it to them, and more importantly, you owe it to yourself to step out and be great. It's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it. So get out there, get uncomfortable, grow, evolve, and never look back. Now is your time. You have greatness inside of you. Let's go. Staying in your comfort zone might feel like the easiest option, but the truth is it's a silent killer of potential. It's the place where your growth is stifled, your dreams are muted, and your progress is limited. It's where mediocrity thrives because you're not pushing yourself to go any further than what's comfortable. You wake up every day in the same environment, doing the same thing, surrounded by the same people, and nothing ever changes. It's safe, predictable, and stable, but that stability is a trap. You see, true growth, real success, and meaningful change don't happen when you stay in that safe little bubble. They happen when you push against the boundaries of what you know, when you challenge yourself to face discomfort, when you venture out into the unknown. Think about the times in your life when you grew the most. Were they the times when everything felt easy and predictable? Or were they the moments when you had to stretch yourself, go beyond what was familiar, and take a leap of faith into something uncertain? Growth comes from the discomfort, the moments of challenge, of fear, of doubt. Those are the moments that define us. If you want to achieve something greater, if you want to create the life you dream of, it's going to require you to leave the comfort zone behind. It's easy to get stuck in this mindset that everything needs to be perfect, that the timing needs to be just right before you take a big step forward. You think, I'll leave my comfort zone when I'm ready. But here's the harsh truth. You'll never feel fully ready because growth isn't about being ready, it's about being willing. You can spend your whole life waiting for the perfect conditions to take action, but those conditions will never come. There will always be a reason to stay where you are: fear, doubt, uncertainty. But nothing in life worth achieving comes without risk. And when you look at those who have achieved extraordinary things, you'll notice one common thread. They didn't wait for everything to fall into place. They acted before they felt ready. And through action, they became ready. What happens when you choose to stay in your comfort zone is that you stop growing. It's like trying to run a race without ever leaving the starting line. You might tell yourself that you're comfortable, that things are fine as they are, but the reality is you're not progressing. And deep down you know it. You're not getting any closer to the person you're meant to be. Your dreams stay dreams and your potential remains untapped, because you're afraid to move. Every moment you spend in the comfort zone is a moment you're not working toward your fullest potential. It's a moment you could have used to learn something new, to push yourself, to explore new opportunities, but instead you're just standing still. And let me be clear, staying in the comfort zone isn't just about physical surroundings. It's also about mental and emotional patterns. It's about the way you think and the way you see the world. When you stay in the comfort zone, you surround yourself with things that reinforce your current mindset. You tell yourself that you don't need to take risks because everything is just fine the way it is. But think about this. Are you really living your best life if you're only doing what's comfortable? Are you truly happy if you've stopped challenging yourself, stopped pushing your boundaries, or are you just settling for what's easy because it's safe? The problem with the comfort zone is that it feels good in the short term, but in the long term, it leads to regret. You look back on the years, the missed opportunities, the things you wanted to do but didn't because you were too afraid to leave your comfort zone. You begin to wonder, what if I had taken that leap? What if I had pushed myself harder? What if I had gone after what I really wanted? Regret is one of the most painful emotions to experience because once time passes, you can never go back. On the other side of discomfort is the life you're meant to live. On the other side of the fear, the anxiety, and the uncertainty is the version of you who has broken through those walls. It's the version of you that's stronger, wiser, and braver than ever before. The person you become on the other side of discomfort is unrecognizable from the person you were because when you start taking those steps, when you push through the fear, you start to unlock new strengths within you. You realize that you are capable of far more than you thought possible. The discomfort doesn't last forever, but the growth that comes from it stays with you. Yes, leaving your comfort zone is hard. It's terrifying, but it's also one of the most liberating things you can do for yourself. When you take that first step into the unknown, you create momentum. And with momentum comes confidence. With confidence comes courage. And before you know it, you're living a life that you never thought possible. You're achieving things you once only dreamed of, and you're becoming the person you were always meant to be. So I challenge you today, right now, to stop letting fear control you. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop letting your comfort zone be the thing that keeps you from living the life you deserve. Step out into the unknown. Take that leap and watch how your life transforms. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it, because the best version of you is waiting for you on the other side. And it's time you met them. Fear is a natural response, something deeply ingrained in us as humans, but it's also one of the most misunderstood emotions. So many people view fear as a signal to stop, to pull back, to avoid something at all costs. But here's the truth. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a sign that you're standing at the threshold of something great, something significant. It's the indicator that you are on the verge of stepping into a new chapter of your life, and that chapter requires you to grow, to stretch, to evolve into a version of yourself you have yet to meet. Fear is the alarm that rings when you're about to do something bold, something extraordinary. It's your inner compass telling you that you're on the right path, even if it doesn't feel comfortable in the moment. The problem arises when we allow fear to dictate our actions, when we see it as a signal to turn back, to retreat into what's familiar. We allow it to hold us hostage and keep us in a cycle of inaction, telling ourselves that we're not ready, that we're not capable, that the risks are too high. But the reality is that the greatest rewards in life are almost always on the other side of fear. Every person who has ever achieved anything remarkable has experienced fear. It's the natural byproduct of doing something outside of your comfort zone, of taking risks and breaking new ground. Fear isn't something to avoid, it's something to embrace, because it means you're moving in the direction of growth. Think about it. When was the last time you felt fear? Really felt it, like a lump in your throat or a tightness in your chest, maybe even doubt swirling in your mind. What were you about to do? Chances are it was something significant. Something that could propel you to the next level. Something that required you to step outside the safety of your known world. Whether it's a new job, a big presentation, a challenging relationship, or starting a business. These are the moments when fear shows up. And too often people turn away from them, convinced that their fear is a sign they shouldn't move forward. But fear is the key to unlocking your full potential. It's the signal that you're on the verge of something amazing, even though you can't see it yet. Fear doesn't just show up in big, life-changing moments. It's there in the little decisions too. It's there when you decide to speak up, when you challenge the status quo, when you try something new, when you decide to make a change. It's in every single decision that pushes you beyond what feels comfortable. And here's the kicker. Fear doesn't go away. It doesn't disappear after one brave act. It will keep showing up because it's a part of the human experience. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't the amount of fear they experience, but how they respond to it. The successful people are the ones who acknowledge the fear, sit with it for a moment, and then move forward anyway. But what's important to understand is that fear is not a signal that you're incapable or that you're going to fail. Fear is simply an emotion, a reaction to the unknown, and it can be managed, controlled, and channeled into something powerful. When you feel fear, it means you're doing something that matters. It's like a flashlight that illuminates the path ahead. If you're afraid, it means you're stretching beyond your current limits. And that's where the magic happens. The challenge is to stop seeing fear as something to avoid and instead see it as the motivator to move forward. Every time you feel afraid and choose to act despite it, you expand your capacity for greatness. One of the greatest misconceptions about fear is that it's a sign that something is wrong or that you're not ready. But think about all the times you've done something successfully, only to realize afterward that you were afraid the entire time. You might have been nervous about a presentation, fearful about an important decision, or anxious about starting something new. But when you did it anyway, you found your way through. You learned, you grew, you overcame the challenges, and you were stronger because of it. Fear does not mean you are incapable. Fear means you are human, and you are on the verge of something that will push you toward becoming the person you are meant to be. It's important to realize that fear is a feeling, not a fact. Just because you feel afraid doesn't mean the thing you're afraid of will happen. More often than not, the fear we experience is based on imagined outcomes, scenarios that we have created in our minds, projecting what might happen rather than accepting what is. The fear of failure, of embarrassment, of making mistakes, it's all part of the process of growth. When you realize that fear is just your mind reacting to uncertainty, you can stop letting it control your decisions. Instead of fearing the unknown, you can embrace it, knowing that stepping into it is where your personal evolution takes place. And here's the beauty of fear. It's a universal experience. Everyone, from the most successful to the most ordinary person, has felt fear at some point. It doesn't discriminate. Fear doesn't make you weak. In fact, it makes you stronger when you choose to move forward in spite of it. When you begin to recognize that fear is an ally, not an enemy, you start to see it for what it truly is. A sign that you are alive, that you are challenging yourself, that you are about to break through to something bigger and better than you've ever imagined. The next time fear shows up in your life, I challenge you to stop and listen. Don't run away from it. Don't retreat back into your comfort zone. Instead, acknowledge it, sit with it for a moment, and then take a step forward. That step is the key to unlocking your true potential, and it's the only way you'll ever achieve anything great. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is your partner in the pursuit of growth. There's a powerful truth that many people fail to realize. Waiting for the perfect moment to take action will only keep you stuck. Life doesn't wait for things to be perfect. The world doesn't wait for all the conditions to line up just right. The reality is that the perfect moment is an illusion, a mirage that will never materialize unless you make a conscious decision to act. You can spend your entire life waiting for everything to be in place, the right time, the right resources, the right circumstances, but the perfect time never arrives because the moment to take action is always now. And if you continue to wait for things to be just right, you will be left on the sidelines watching others take the leap and move forward while you remain stuck in the comfort of inaction. So many people find themselves paralyzed by the fear of imperfection, convinced that they need everything to be flawless before they can even begin. They convince themselves that once they have more money, more experience, more time, or more resources, they'll finally be ready. But the truth is, waiting for everything to be perfect is a recipe for stagnation. Perfection is a lie. It doesn't exist. Every successful person, every great entrepreneur, every person who has achieved something meaningful has done so by taking action before they felt ready. They didn't wait until the stars aligned or until everything was perfectly in place. Instead, they acted in the face of uncertainty, in the face of fear, and in the face of imperfection. When you wait for the perfect moment, you're putting your future in the hands of something that doesn't even exist. You're allowing fear, doubt, and procrastination to control your actions. You're allowing yourself to stay comfortable and safe, even though you know deep down that you're capable of so much more. The truth is that the perfect moment will never come because life is messy, unpredictable, and constantly changing. No matter how much planning you do or how much you try to prepare, there will always be variables that are out of your control. But that's where the magic happens. The moment you decide to take action in the face of uncertainty is the moment you unlock your true potential. Think about the times in your life when you've taken action without having everything figured out. Maybe you decided to take a new job, start a business, or take a leap of faith in a relationship. Did it feel scary? Did it feel like you were taking a risk? Of course it did. But that action, that willingness to step into the unknown is what led you to growth, learning, and achievement. It's what pushed you beyond the boundaries of what you knew and forced you to evolve. It was messy. It was imperfect. But it was also exactly what you needed to do in order to move forward. Because the act of moving forward is what leads to clarity. It's what gives you the experience and the feedback you need to adjust, learn, and grow. One of the most common excuses people make when they're waiting for the perfect moment is that they don't feel ready. They look at what they want to achieve and think, I'm not qualified, I don't have enough experience, or I need to learn more. They convince themselves that they're not ready to take the plunge. But here's the truth. You'll never feel fully ready. That feeling of readiness is a myth. You will never have all the answers, and you will never know exactly how everything will turn out. And that's okay. The key is to start anyway. The key is to take the first step, no matter how imperfect, and trust that the next step will reveal itself. Because once you start, you begin to build momentum. Momentum breeds confidence, and confidence breeds courage. The more you act, and as you grow, you'll find that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. Waiting for the perfect moment is also a form of self-doubt. It's your inner critic telling you that you're not good enough, not capable enough, or not deserving enough to take action. But here's something important to remember. You don't need to wait for permission to act. You don't need someone else's approval or the perfect conditions to take that first step. You have everything you need inside of you right now to begin. You just have to trust yourself and take that leap. The world isn't waiting for you to be perfect. The world is waiting for you to show up, to give your best, to take risks, and to embrace the uncertainty. Every great achievement began with someone who took action, even though they didn't have everything figured out. And let's be clear about something. Waiting for the perfect moment is often a form of procrastination. It's the mind's way of putting off something difficult, something uncomfortable, something uncertain. It's easier to wait for conditions to be just right than to face the fear of starting something new. But that procrastination only serves to keep you stuck. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to take that first step. The longer you put it off, the more doubts and fears pile up in your mind, making the task seem even more impossible. But the truth is, the more you put something off, the more it holds power over you. The longer you wait, the more momentum the fear builds. And the longer you wait, the more you delay your growth. So, how do you break this cycle? It starts with recognizing that the perfect moment doesn't exist. There will always be a reason to wait, always. But the key to moving forward is not waiting for the perfect moment, but creating your own moment. It's about taking the first step, even when you don't feel ready. It's about trusting that even though things may not be perfect, you have the ability to figure it out along the way. That's when you really matter. That's when you call the Lydian. You are the one that's in control. You have the resilience, the creativity, and the strength to navigate whatever challenges come your way. The moment to start is now. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Take action. And let the experience guide you toward the success you desire. Because the truth is, the perfect moment is now. The only question is, will you take it? Greatness is not something that's handed to you. It's not a gift you receive just because you wish for it or dream about it. Greatness requires action. It demands that you take steps forward, regardless of the challenges, doubts, and obstacles that lie ahead. So many people wait for the perfect conditions to start their journey toward greatness, thinking that success will come when everything is aligned, when the timing is perfect, when the world is ready for them. But the reality is that greatness doesn't work that way. It's built through the choices you make every day, the risks you take, and the consistent action you commit to, even when it feels like you're not making progress. Think about anyone who has achieved anything significant in life, whether it's an athlete, an entrepreneur, an artist, or a leader. None of them got to where they are by waiting around for things to fall into place. They took action, often in the face of adversity. They didn't wait until they felt ready because they knew that greatness isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating that moment through the actions you take. Every person who has ever accomplished anything great has taken steps when others were still thinking about it. They pushed themselves when others held back. They acted when everyone else sat on the sideline. If you want to achieve something great, you have to be willing to move, even when you're unsure, even when the future is uncertain, even when fear tries to hold you back. You have to be willing to step forward. You won't always have all the answers, and the road won't always be clear, but that's part of the journey. If you wait until you have everything figured out, you'll never start. If you wait until every step feels certain, you'll be stuck in inaction forever. Greatness is about pushing through those moments of doubt, through the obstacles, and continuing to move forward even when you don't have a clear path ahead. The key to achieving greatness is consistent action. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and not letting setbacks define you. There will be moments when you fall, when you fail, when things don't go according to plan. But it's in those moments that your commitment to greatness is truly tested. Will you get back up? Will you keep going? Or will you let the challenges stop you? It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go the way you expect. But greatness requires resilience. It requires you to keep pushing, to keep moving forward, even when you feel like you're not making any progress. Every setback is an opportunity to learn, to grow stronger, and to refine your approach. It's through action, through consistent effort, that you build the foundation for greatness. Too many people think that greatness is reserved for a select few, those who are born with natural talent or those who seem to have everything going for them. But that's not true. Greatness is available to anyone who is willing to put in the work, to take consistent action, and to keep going even when it gets tough. The idea that greatness is something only a few select individuals achieve is a myth. The truth is, everyone has the potential for greatness. It doesn't matter where you come from, how many resources you have, or how many people doubt you. If you're willing to take action and keep pushing forward, you can achieve greatness in your own way. The journey to greatness is also a journey of self-discovery. As you take action and face the challenges that come with pursuing your dreams, you start to learn more about yourself. You discover your strengths, your weaknesses, your limits, and your capacity for growth. You learn what drives you, what makes you passionate, and what you're truly capable of. Greatness isn't just about the results you achieve, it's about who you become along the way. It's about the person you grow into as you push through obstacles, embrace discomfort, and keep going despite setbacks. You will encounter moments when you question your abilities, when you wonder if you're on the right path, when you feel like giving up. But these moments of doubt are often the very moments when you're on the verge of a breakthrough. Greatness is about pushing through those doubts, proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. One of the most important things to remember when pursuing greatness is that it's a long-term game. It's not about instant success or achieving your dreams overnight. Greatness takes time, effort, and patience. It's about staying committed to your vision, even when the rewards don't come immediately. The road may be long and the journey may be filled with obstacles, but if you stay consistent, if you keep showing up every day, if you keep taking action, you will see the results. Greatness is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's about the daily effort, the small steps you take every day, and the commitment to keep going when the road gets tough. You might feel like you're not making progress some days, like your efforts aren't paying off, but let me tell you something. Consistency is key. Every action you take, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to your goal. Every moment of hard work, every sacrifice you make, every challenge you face is adding to your journey of greatness. And over time, those small actions compound into something incredible. The work you put in today will pay off tomorrow. It's the consistent effort, day after day, that builds the foundation for greatness. So, stop waiting for the perfect moment to start. Stop looking for excuses to put it off. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The only moment that matters is now. Take action and keep taking action. The road to greatness is filled with obstacles, but it's also filled with opportunities. And every step you take brings you closer to the life you want, the success you deserve, and the person you're meant to be. Keep moving forward, keep pushing yourself, and never let fear or doubt stop you. Greatness is not about waiting for things to fall into place. It's about creating your own path and walking it, no matter what happens. You will never know your true potential unless you challenge yourself. Many people spend their lives in the comfort of what they know, repeating the same patterns, sticking to routines, and avoiding anything that might push them beyond their current limits. But here's the truth. Growth only happens when you step into the unknown. It's in the moments when you stretch yourself, when you take on challenges that scare you, that you begin to realize just how much you are capable of. You can't fully know your strengths, your abilities, or your capacity for greatness unless you force yourself to face discomfort, to step beyond what feels safe and familiar. It's easy to stay in your comfort zone. It's predictable, it's comfortable, and it feels like you have control. But staying within the boundaries of what's familiar only limits your potential. The truth is that you will never achieve anything truly extraordinary by staying in the place where everything feels easy. If you want to reach your highest potential, you have to push yourself, to challenge yourself in ways that make you uncomfortable. That's where the magic happens. It's where you learn what you're really capable of, and where you find the strength you didn't even know you had. You've heard the saying, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And it's true. If you're not willing to take risks, to step outside of what feels safe, you will never experience the true rewards of life. The most successful and fulfilled people in the world didn't get to where they are by playing it safe. They took risks. They put themselves in situations that made them uncomfortable. And through that discomfort, they grew. Success doesn't come from avoiding challenges. It comes from embracing them. It's in the moments when you don't know how things will turn out, when you're not sure if you'll succeed, but you decide to take the leap anyway, that you create the possibility for growth. The challenge comes when you stop playing small and begin pushing the boundaries of what you think is possible. It's easy to believe that you can't do something because you've never done it before or because you're not ready. But that belief is based on fear. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of being judged. These fears are natural, but they shouldn't stop you. They should fuel you, because every time you take a step into the unknown, you stretch your comfort zone a little bit further. Every time you face a challenge that seems impossible, you expand your capacity for growth. When you start pushing past your fears and limitations, you begin to tap into a well of untapped potential. And that potential is where success lives. It's in the moments of discomfort that you discover who you truly are. Comfort is easy, but it doesn't reveal anything about your character. It doesn't teach you resilience, determination, or grit. Discomfort, on the other hand, shows you what you're made of. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, your self-doubt, and your fears. But it also gives you the opportunity to strengthen your resolve, to build confidence, and to prove to yourself that you are capable of overcoming challenges. The more you push yourself, the more you begin to see that your limits are not as fixed as you thought. Every time you overcome a challenge, you expand your limits, and you show yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. The problem for most people is that they are too focused on the outcome. They think that in order to push their limits, they need to succeed, that they need to have the perfect result. But success isn't guaranteed every time. You will fail, and that's okay. Failure is part of the process. It's in those moments of failure that you learn the most about yourself. You discover where you need to improve, where you need to grow, and where your strengths lie. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about learning how to navigate failure, how to pick yourself up, and how to keep going despite the setbacks. When you challenge yourself, you give yourself the opportunity to fail, to learn, and to ultimately grow into the person you need to be in order to achieve your goals. By staying in your comfort zone, you deny yourself the opportunity to grow. You avoid the very experiences that will help you become the person you need to be. Success doesn't come from doing what you already know how to do. It comes from pushing your boundaries, from testing your limits, from doing things that you've never done before. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you need to start thinking beyond your current abilities. You need to start believing that you're capable of far more than you realize. And the only way to do that is to challenge yourself. When you embrace discomfort, you stop seeing it as something to fear and instead start seeing it as something to welcome. Discomfort is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of growth. Every time you push yourself, you create the possibility for growth. And growth is the key to reaching your full potential. The more you challenge yourself, the more you discover about what you are capable of. You find new strengths, new skills, and new insights that you never would have discovered if you had stayed in your comfort zone. By embracing discomfort, you give yourself the opportunity to evolve, to become better, stronger, and more resilient. It's important to remember that no one is born with the ability to do everything perfectly. Success doesn't come easily to anyone. The people you admire, the ones who have achieved extraordinary things, didn't get there by taking the easy route. They faced challenges, they struggled, they failed, but they kept going. They kept challenging themselves, pushing their limits and growing in the process. And you can do the same. You have the same potential inside of you. You just need to step up, take that leap, and start pushing yourself. When you do, you'll discover a version of yourself that is far more capable than you ever thought possible. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for everything to be easy. Embrace the challenge, embrace the discomfort, and watch yourself grow into the person you were always meant to be. The biggest mistake that people often make in life is settling. Settling for less than they deserve, settling for what's comfortable, and accepting mediocrity because it seems easier than fighting for something better. The truth is that settling is one of the greatest enemies of your potential. Every time you settle for less, you are telling yourself that you don't believe you are capable of more. You are closing the door on opportunity, growth, and the possibility of achieving something greater. It's easy to settle because it's familiar. It feels safe. But the reality is that if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you have to refuse to settle. You have to reach for what's beyond what you know, what's beyond what feels safe and comfortable, and go after what you truly want, even if it means stepping into the unknown. When you settle for less than you deserve, you rob yourself of the chance to see how far you can really go. You might think that by choosing comfort or convenience, you're making your life easier, but in reality, you're choosing to stay stuck. You're choosing to stay in a place that won't help you grow or move you forward. It's like choosing to stay in the shallow end of the pool because the deep end seems too scary, even though you have the ability to swim across and experience the vastness of what's possible. The deeper end holds challenges, but it also holds the potential for incredible growth, new experiences, and the chance to discover what you're truly capable of. Settling for the shallow end may feel comfortable, but it will never allow you to fully realize your potential. So many people stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, or situations that limit them because they feel it's easier than taking the risk to go after something better. They convince themselves that they can't do better, that they don't deserve more, or that change is too hard. But what they don't realize is that by staying where they are only robbing themselves of the opportunity to achieve more. The world is full of possibilities. Your dreams, your aspirations, and your potential for success are only limited by the boundaries you place on yourself. Settling creates a barrier between you and your goals, a barrier that prevents you from reaching your full potential. Every time you settle, you make a choice to stay where you are instead of moving forward towards something better. Settling means you're willing to accept the status quo, the mediocre, and the good enough, because you're too afraid to take the leap into something bigger. But if you are truly serious about achieving greatness, you have to refuse to accept anything less than what you are capable of. You need to stop making excuses for why you can't do more. Stop telling yourself that it's too hard, and start believing that you deserve the best that life has to offer. The fear of failure is often what holds people back from pursuing their true potential. People settle because they are afraid of failing, afraid of making mistakes, afraid of not living up to their own expectations or the expectations of others. But the truth is, failure is a part of success. It's through failure that you learn, grow, and improve. If you never take the chance to fail, you'll never discover just how much you can achieve. If you want to master your imposter syndrome, grow for yourself, we got to stop expecting other people to be the very best version of themselves they can be. The key is to embrace failure, not as a defeat, but as a lesson that helps you move forward. Every time you fail, you gain knowledge, resilience, and a deeper understanding of what it takes to succeed. So instead of settling for a life that feels safe and predictable, start taking risks. Start pushing yourself toward the unknown, where the possibility for failure exists, but so does the potential for incredible growth. Settling also comes from a place of fear and doubt. It's the fear of what might happen if you take a risk, the fear of not being good enough, or the fear of the unknown. But here's something important to remember. Fear is just a feeling. It's not a reflection of reality, and it's certainly not something that should dictate your choices. Fear will always be present when you're stepping into something new, but it doesn't have to control you. You can acknowledge the fear, but you don't have to let it stop you from taking action. The fear of failure, of rejection, of the unknown, all stem from the same place, your own doubts and insecurities. But when you refuse to settle, when you choose to go after what you really want, you're telling your fear that it doesn't control you. Settling doesn't just hold you back from achieving your dreams. It also holds you back from living a life that feels fulfilling. Mediocrity isn't just about achieving less. It's about living a life that feels empty, uninspired, and disconnected from your true purpose. When you settle, you miss out on the joy and satisfaction that comes from pushing yourself to do your best, from reaching higher, from living life on your own terms. You can't fully experience the richness of life when you're holding yourself back out of fear or comfort. When you refuse to settle, you open yourself up to the possibility of a life filled with passion, purpose, and fulfillment. Every single one of us has unique talents, gifts, and potential that are waiting to be unleashed. But you'll never uncover the full extent of your potential unless you refuse to settle. It's not enough to go through life simply trying to get by. You have the ability to achieve extraordinary things, to create a life that excites and inspires you. But that requires action. It requires you to take the first step, to make the decision to go after something greater than what's in front of you right now. The decision to stop settling is the decision to take control of your life and your future. It's the decision to push yourself, to challenge yourself, and to go after everything you've ever wanted. You don't have to settle for less. You don't have to stay in situations that don't fulfill you, in relationships that don't support you, or in jobs that don't inspire you. You have the power to create the life you desire. But that power only comes when you refuse to settle, when you refuse to accept anything less than your best, and when you take the steps to build a future that reflects the greatness that resides within you. When you stop settling, you open the door to a world of possibilities. When you start to realize your own potential, something incredible happens. You stop waiting for permission. The moment you stop looking to others for approval, validation, or guidance, you tap into a power within you that has always been there. We are conditioned to believe that success, achievement, and recognition are things that are granted to us by others, that we need someone to give us the go-ahead, to tell us we are worthy, or to create the perfect conditions before we take action. But in reality, that's a mindset that keeps us stuck. You do not need anyone's permission to go after your dreams, to step into your greatness, or to live the life you envision for yourself. The only permission you need is your own. The world is full of people who are waiting for someone to tell them it's okay to take the next step. They're waiting for a sign, a green light, a guarantee that they won't fail. But here's the hard truth. Waiting for permission means you're staying stagnant. You're letting your fear of failure, your insecurity, or your need for validation dictate your actions. And by doing so, you miss out on the possibility of achieving something great. If you keep waiting for someone to tell you that you're ready, that you're capable, or that now is the perfect time, you may never take action at all. Permission doesn't come from the outside. It's something you give yourself. It's an internal decision to believe in yourself and your abilities, to trust that you are capable of making the most of every opportunity that comes your way, and to move forward despite the uncertainty or fear that may be present. So many people are paralyzed by the belief that they need someone else's approval. They're waiting for their boss to recognize their potential, for a mentor to give them the green light, for their friends or family to say, you can do this. But the problem with that thinking is that it gives others control over your future. When you rely on others for permission, you're giving them the power to determine your success. And the reality is that no one else can define what's possible for you except you. You are the only person who truly understands your dreams, your desires, and your vision for your life. So why wait for someone else to give you the go-ahead when you already have the power to make it happen? The key to unlocking your potential lies in the decision to stop waiting and start acting. If you believe that your success is dependent on someone else's permission, you will always find yourself waiting. You'll wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect time. But the truth is, the perfect time never comes. Life doesn't hand you perfect conditions, and success doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Success is a result of action, persistence, and the willingness to take risks, even when you don't have everything figured out. You don't need permission to take that first step, to start building the life you want, to create the success you deserve. All you need is the belief that you are capable and the courage to take action, no matter how uncertain the path may seem. There's a quote that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Too many people live with regrets because they waited too long to take action. They waited for the right moment, for the right circumstances, or for someone else to tell them it was time to act. But the truth is that waiting only delays your success. The sooner you start, the sooner you begin moving toward your goals, and the sooner you create the life you want. Every moment spent waiting is a moment of potential lost. And the longer you wait, the more you'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of doubt, fear, and hesitation. The moment you decide to stop waiting for permission, you become unstoppable. You break free from the chains of fear and insecurity that have been holding you back. You stop seeking validation from others and start trusting your own instincts, your own knowledge, and your own abilities. You realize that you have the power to create the life you want, and you no longer need anyone else's approval to go after it. You give yourself the permission to succeed, to grow, and to achieve greatness. This shift in mindset doesn't happen overnight. It requires you to reframe the way you think about success and failure, about risk and reward. It requires you to let go of the fear of judgment and the need for external validation. It requires you to trust in your own abilities and to believe that regardless of the challenges you face, you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. When you stop waiting for permission, you take control of your own future. You become the architect of your success, the creator of your destiny, and the author of your own story. The road to greatness is not easy, and it's rarely smooth. There will be setbacks, failures, and moments when things don't go as planned. But these obstacles are not reasons to stop or give up. They are the stepping stones to your success. When you stop waiting for permission, You give yourself the freedom to fail, learn, and grow without being paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. Every failure is an opportunity to refine your approach, to grow stronger, and to get closer to your ultimate goal. The most successful people didn't wait for permission. They acted in the face of uncertainty. They moved forward even when the road was unclear, and they learned from their mistakes along the way. They understood that failure wasn't a reason to stop. It was part of the process of becoming great. Waiting for permission also means waiting for someone else to believe in you before you believe in yourself. But the truth is that your belief in yourself is the foundation for everything else. If you don't believe that you are capable of achieving great things, no one else will either. Your confidence, your drive, and your determination come from within. When you decide to stop waiting for permission, you take control of that belief. You stop relying on others to tell you that you are worthy of success, and you start telling yourself that you are worthy. You become your own greatest advocate, your own biggest cheerleader, and your own source of motivation. The journey to success is yours to take. No one else can walk it for you, and no one else can define your path. The only permission you need is your own. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you're ready. You're ready right now. Take the first step. Trust yourself. Believe in your ability to create the life you want, and never look back. The only true limit that exists is the one you place on yourself. Too often we live our lives within self-imposed boundaries, believing that certain things are simply out of reach, or that we're not capable of achieving more than what we've already done. We tell ourselves that there are limits to what we can do based on our past experiences, our current situation, or the beliefs we hold about ourselves. We think we are born without limits, our people, our house, our job, our home. But in reality, those limits are not set by the world around us. They are set by the way we choose to think about ourselves and the possibilities before us. The truth is, the limits you perceive are often just an illusion, a mental barrier that stops you from realizing your true potential. The only way to break free from those limits is to challenge your thinking, to push beyond your comfort zone, and to take action despite the fear and uncertainty that may arise. One of the biggest mistakes we make is believing that our current abilities, circumstances, or resources are the extent of what we can achieve. We look at where we are right now and assume that it's the best we can do, that we've already reached our peak. We allow our past failures, our limitations, or even the opinions of others to dictate what we believe is possible for us. But if you look at the greatest achievers in history, you'll see that they didn't let their circumstances define them. They didn't let their past mistakes or the barriers in front of them hold them back. They chose to see beyond their limitations, to believe that they were capable of more, and to take bold steps toward their dreams, even when the odds were stacked against them. Breaking through your self-imposed limits requires a mindset shift. It requires you to believe that there are no limits, only possibilities. The moment you accept that your potential is not capped by what you've experienced in the past, you unlock a world of opportunity. It's easy to let self-doubt creep in and convince you that certain things are beyond your reach. But that mindset keeps you stuck in a place of complacency. The truth is, you are far more capable than you give yourself credit for. You have within you the ability to achieve more than you've ever imagined, but only if you're willing to challenge the limits you've set for yourself. When you stop believing in limitations, you begin to realize that the only thing standing between you and your goals is action. Often, we spend too much time overthinking, analyzing, and worrying about whether or not we're capable of achieving something. We get so caught up in the fear of failure that we never even try. But the truth is, failure is a part of the journey. It's not something to fear, but something to embrace. is something that happens to them. Every failure is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to move closer to your ultimate goal. When you stop fearing failure and instead focus on taking consistent action toward your dreams, you'll find that you are capable of achieving far more than you ever thought possible. The key to breaking through your limits is to take the first step. It doesn't matter how small that step is, as long as you take it. Every journey begins with a single step, and often the biggest challenge is simply getting started. Once you take that step, you'll begin to build momentum. You'll realize that the path ahead may not be as difficult as you once thought, and that each new step you take brings you closer to your goals. The more you push through your own doubts, the more confident you become in your ability to overcome obstacles. And the more confident you become, the more you'll push yourself to achieve even greater things. The only true limit is the one you place on yourself. And the more you break through those limits, the more you realize how much you are capable of. A big part of pushing beyond your limits is not allowing fear to control you. Fear is a natural part of the process, but it's important not to let it dictate your actions. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of the unknown can paralyze you, but they don't have to. The key is to acknowledge your fear without letting it stop you. Everyone feels fear when they step into the unknown. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is the ability to act despite their fear. When you recognize that fear is simply a feeling and not a reflection of your abilities, you can use it as fuel to move forward instead of letting it hold you back. Fear will always be present when you're stepping into something new or challenging, but it doesn't have to control you. The more you take action in spite of your fear, the more you'll realize that your limits are not as strong as you once thought. Another important aspect of breaking through your limits is the willingness to embrace discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in a place of comfort. If you always stick with what's familiar, you will never grow. It's when you push yourself outside of your comfort zone, when you take on challenges that seem impossible, that you truly begin to unlock your potential. Discomfort is the breeding ground for growth. When you face something difficult or uncomfortable, it forces you to rise to the occasion. It forces you to learn, to adapt, and to develop new skills. The discomfort you experience when you push past your limits is a sign that you are stretching yourself, that you are growing, and that you are moving closer to your goals. It's important to recognize that breaking through your limits isn't always about doing something monumental. It's about the small steps you take every day to challenge yourself, to push yourself further, and to refuse to accept mediocrity. Each time you challenge your limits, you are proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you think. And as you continue to stretch yourself, you will find that your limits expand. What once seemed impossible will start to feel achievable, and what once felt out of reach will become part of your reality. The more you break through your limits, the more you realize that success isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about continuing to move forward even when things get tough. It's about refusing to accept the limits you've placed on yourself and instead pushing yourself to achieve something greater. You are capable of far more than you realize. The only thing standing in the way of your dreams is the belief that you can't achieve them. When you break through that belief, when you stop limiting yourself, you open up a world of possibilities. So, challenge yourself to push beyond what you thought was possible, and you'll discover just how limitless your potential truly is. The journey toward breaking through your limits and realizing your full potential is not an easy one, but it is the most rewarding path you can take. Throughout this speech, we've explored how the boundaries we perceive in our lives are often self-imposed, shaped by fear, self-doubt, and the comfort of the familiar. But the truth is, you are capable of so much more than you might believe. When you choose to step outside of your comfort zone, when you stop waiting for permission, and when you stop allowing fear and limitations to control your actions, you unlock a power within you that knows no bounds. You don't need someone else to tell you that you're ready or capable. You already are. The only limits that exist are the ones you place on yourself. The path to greatness begins when you decide to take action, to trust in your abilities, and to embrace the discomfort that comes with growth. Every challenge you face, every setback you encounter, is an opportunity to learn, grow, and move closer to your dreams. Success doesn't come from staying within your comfort zone or waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from pushing through fear, challenging yourself, and taking the first step, no matter how uncertain the road ahead may seem. So remember this: you are not defined by your past, your failures, or your limitations. You are defined by your ability to rise above them, to refuse to settle, and to believe that you are capable of achieving greatness. The world is full of possibilities, and you have everything you need within you to seize them. Stop waiting for permission, stop letting fear dictate your actions, and stop allowing limits to hold you back. Forget, the only true limit is the one you place on yourself. Break through those limits, take control of your future, and become the person you were always meant to be. The time to act is now.